So Len, first of all, just your immediate thoughts on the game, please.
Well, London is an extremely good, deep team that we knew we were, our goal was to get to this game and put our best foot forward. For the second game running with them, we played a solid 3 quarters, and we just can't seem to put 4 quarters together against them. Their pressure is pretty relentless. They're good, and if we got a couple more shots at them, maybe we could get them. But we need to play a little better than we did today. But all in all, we worked really hard to get here. We beat some good teams. So there wasn't really much more we could do. Hats off to London, though.
And Kat, same for you.
Congratulations to London. They had a pretty amazing year. I thought the game was. It was hard for us to put 40 minutes together. We knew that that's what we needed to do to be successful. We finished with 19 turnovers, so that would definitely be one of the reasons why we struggled. They had 15 fast break points, 18 points off the bench. They have a very deep team, and they bring people off the bench that are going to score. We constantly have to change our defensive assignments, so it can be a lot at times. But kind of what Len said, we've gone through quite a lot this year, so I'm pretty proud of us for how far we've made it.
Any questions?
Hi, good afternoon. Commiserations on the loss today. My name's Ayo. I'm representing Below the Rim podcast. First question: you seem to have played pretty well in the first quarter. You went into the second quarter leading by 12. The high-low seemed to be working at some point throughout the first quarter and partly through the second quarter. What do you think happened? From the second quarter onwards that, or maybe going into the second half, that kind of just wasn't working that didn't work in the first quarter, if that makes sense. What do you think didn't work that did work in the first quarter?
I don't know necessarily the breakdown of turnovers, but we took care of the ball pretty well in the first half. When you turn the ball over, that gives them easy points. Offensive rebounding was an issue in the first quarter. Luckily, they didn't capitalize as much as they could have. We probably moved the ball a lot better in the first half, obviously, than we did the second half. And we have to make shots. If we don't shoot well, we shot 31%. If we don't shoot well, they shot 31%. We shot 29%. Not much difference. But, if you don't shoot the ball well, you can't win a game with only scoring 45 points. So.
Any other questions? Well, Len, obviously with London's dominance this year, winning all 4 trophies, as one of their rivals and competitors, what do you think? Do you think this will kind of bring up the standard for the rest of the league? Obviously now you've got to work even harder.
I think that it's a bit of a quantum leap that London's taken, and whether the rest of us can keep up or match that competitively is to be determined. We're going to have to find some money from somewhere, though. You can't put a team together like that without money. So we got to get out there and try and find it. After the trophy final, I remember my wife sending me a WhatsApp message saying, "Well, you got to go out and find £1 million." It could be out there. It could be. We're going to try. We're going to try and keep up with them. But it's, they're certainly a very good team. and they'll be playing in Europe again next year, and they're a British team, so can't hurt.
And Kat, for you as well, obviously the team has had a long period of success in the league. 2 finals, second place in the league. It's still a very good season. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we've gone through a lot throughout the year. COVID, injuries, just a lot, We are still humans. We have lives outside of basketball. So, some things, when you put it in perspective, sometimes, other things are more important than basketball. But with that being said, we come together. We don't have a team full of professionals. So, we have to do what we can do. But yeah, I'm super proud of being on this team. We still finished, like you said, second in the league, made it to 2 finals. We showed a lot of bounce back throughout the year. So yeah, I think we still had a pretty successful year. People are just used to us seeing us on top all the time, so yeah.
Me again, sorry. If you could sort of speak to the strength that yourself and your teammates, galvanized each other with this season, with everything that you've had to deal with, even coming off the back of last year. Just kind of to speak to that, because I don't think that is highlighted as much when it comes to professional sports, let alone women in sports. If you could just let basically the world know, the strength and what you guys have had to, in a short sort of nutshell, what you've had to deal with and the strength you've had to, come through and fight for, with each other and for each other throughout the season.
Yeah. We know kind of where basketball stands in this country in general, whether it's, men or women. So we obviously know women get the short end of that. But to me, us as women, we are quite amazing beings. Just like, for example, Jo Leadham on the other team, she's married with she had a kid last year. So, women, we are very capable of doing amazing things. So, women supporting women is really what I stand for. So, even though we go to battle with this team throughout this whole season, at the end of the day, we are all women, and we go through a lot of things. And, especially on our team, we had a situation this year that we, like I said, it really put basketball in perspective for us, and realized that, our camaraderie and our sisterhood is much more important than us winning or losing games.
Coach, you spoke about the Lions taking a quantum leap this season. Do you think that's a good thing for the League One team having a much bigger budget than the other teams?
Depends what happens over the next 3-4 years. So, you want to have competitiveness in the league. It's very, very important. So we as a league we'll have to figure out how we're going to do it. No, if this happens every year for the next 5 years, I don't think that's particularly good. But it's not written in stone that that's what's going to happen. There's an investment in the London franchise. It could be an investment in another franchise or in the whole league as a whole. So there are lots of ways it can go. But any money going into the women's game is, right at this point in time, has to be seen as a positive thing. That's what you can do with money. You can keep good top British players in the country, and they'll play, here. There were 7 of our 10 players today are British players, and I think 9 or 10 of their players are British players. So it takes a bit of money, but so I'm not crying over the big London budget just yet.
Any more questions? Okay, that concludes the first part of our press conference. Thank you very much. Game press conference of WBBL playoff final. We're now joined by our winners, London Lions. We have head coach Mark Clark and MVP Kennedy Leonard. Same process, we'll start with some opening statements and then we'll move on to some questions from the media. First of all, Mark, congratulations and just your immediate thoughts on the win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start with the obvious. It's the end of a really long season, having started in the beginning of August. The beginning of the game was a little difficult with the delay, etc. And I think both teams struggled with that a little bit in the first quarter. But again, keeping the team to 45 points makes life easier in terms of winning. And we struggled a little bit offensively at times, but as we've done all year, our defense was decisive.
Yeah, I thought same as Mark. I thought our first half was a little bit slow, but then we know that we're a good third quarter team. So for us, I think it was just picking up our defense and kind of like putting the end to the game and end to the season on display for, I guess, ourselves and for everyone else to see.
Any questions?
Can you tell us about the face mask and how it was playing with it?
Yeah, the face mask, it was fine. It's just a bit annoying, like when you get sweaty. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, whatever it took to get me to be able to have the choice or decision to play today, we did. Mark did. Mark drove like 12 hours yesterday to get me a face mask to play today. So if you have a head coach that does that for you, then you're definitely going to get out there and play and do your best. So yeah, it was all right. It got the job done, so I can't complain.
For both of you, what do you think's been the quality that's driven this team to win every single game domestically this year? Because you can slip up, but you guys have driven right to the end.
You can also have the first hour.
I would say it starts with Joe. Anytime you play with Joe is just, for me, I told her after the game it was the greatest honor of my career thus far to play with her. I think just the level that she plays at and what she brings to the table is something that you only get a few times in life if you even get it. So I think for me it starts and ends with Joe, and I think Mark would probably agree with that as well as other things, but for me it's just pretty much playing with Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe's the bar setter in terms of what's acceptable and unacceptable, and at the beginning of the year it was very much just Joe saying that up to a point in terms of like trying to drive things with Z at the same time. But I think the other thing that really sets us apart is that everybody holds everybody to account. And I think the word accountability is one of the most used words in our locker room. People hold Kennedy to account, and Kennedy responds in a positive way and holds everyone else to account. And I think the greatest thing is I've been on teams where that challenge is sometimes seen as a negative. All it does with us is drive them on, and Joe's the major reason that is how it is.
You went into the second quarter down 5 points. Not the greatest shooting quarter, I'm sure, of the season. What do you believe the Suns were doing in that first quarter that gave you that much trouble, regardless of the not making shots? But what do you think that was? What do you think was giving you the trouble that they were giving you? What do you think that was?
I think it's largely down to basketball. I've always felt is a game that you have to play in your rhythm, and if you can establish your rhythm. And for whatever reason, their defensive effort was good in the first part of the game, but we weren't in our rhythm at all. And it wasn't until Shanice came in and made some shots that we started to relax a little and started to function. But they slouched off a lot, which takes you out of rhythm. You have to generate your own rhythm, and I think that we struggled at times to play the way we want to play. And on off, we spent a lot of time without the basketball because our defense kept them with really struggling to shoot, really struggling to get shots, so they're getting deep on the shot clock. And then we were given open shots, we just weren't in rhythm, and shots that we would normally make, we didn't. And if that's the way they were going to decide to play it, that I think more than anything else, they took us out of our rhythm.
For Kennedy, actually, it's obviously when this team got put together, everybody was just like, wow, this is going to be some season. How different is Kennedy wanted today, sitting there as the MVP, to Kennedy wanted at the start of the season?
I guess a tough question. I would like to say that I've matured a bit. Obviously, like I said, playing with like Joe and Z and bringing in people like Holly and just that sort of player, I think makes you automatically become a better player. And I think it also forces you to be like to give more of yourself for the team. Last year, me, Cassie, and Shanice were kind of the go-to players, and this year you kind of have to take, not necessarily a back seat, but you have to take some of yourself away to help the team be greater as a whole. So for me, I think just becoming a better, just teammate. Might not have to play 40 minutes every night, might not have to do this and that, but as long as I do my role and help the team get to what it needs to do to win and finish games, then I think that's what was important this year for me.
Bit of a hard one. We've got Player P, Hoodie Mello, now MVP, Master, Kennedy. How long are you gonna, wear the mask? Are we gonna see that again? God forbid, another accident. But are we gonna see that again? Because you got the MVP. Why not?
Yeah, we were just joking after the game. Actually, I was telling Leah, you have to break my nose more often so I can wear a mask. Yeah, but no, I don't think I'll wear it again. I just I broke my nose and deviated my septum in practice on Thursday, so. I'll just go. I go home on tomorrow, back to the U.S., and I'll get some surgery to fix it and reset it, and then I think just don't do any contact for a while. I'm not bringing the mask home. Mark had to borrow it from a friend, so I have to give it back to the friend. He has to drive back to Loughborough and bring it back to the friend. So as fun as it was playing in it, I think I'm all right from now on.
Coach, you've been targeting obviously the perfect season all season, and now it's sort of finally done. When you look back on it, what would you say this season means for basketball in this country? What does it mean for the franchise? What does it mean to you? How historic has it been?
What it means to me personally is obviously there's a great deal of satisfaction in the fact that you set your stall out at the beginning of the year. You recruit a team that you think can not only be successful in the WBBL, but will give a team from the WBBL the chance to be successful in Europe. So from that perspective, obviously that's a lot of satisfaction. Retaining players like Kennedy, our league has to retain, quality players. So making a program that Kennedy Leonard wants to play in going forward, that Chantel Childs wants to come back to the UK and play in, was a big deal. And we set out our stall to say, well, in the year that just gone, that we were going to try and build the British depth of that group. And then I think that's what it means as much as anything else, that we worked very hard and got the rewards we needed, and you set your stall out and you achieve your objectives and goals. That's always a really big plus. I think for the league, we've said this before, it'd be interesting to hear what Kennedy says, but the league has a choice. And organisations have a choice. Do you try to get the balance right between homegrown players and foreign players and real quality players like Cassie Breen? Do you get the balance right, or do you just go and recruit your 4 permits and then just patch up the rest of the roster? If you look at every single successful league in Europe, there's a solid core of home-based players, and then you can go out and find the international players, the non-British players that can really add to that. And I think what we've done is show people you can do that. Brexit and everything else makes it harder for British players to play abroad, but then we need to increase our product and the quality of our product to allow teams to play here. And the organisation at Lions has backed that, and has backed that to such an extent that we go and beat Bourges in a one-off game. So no excuses anymore. The model works. You just got to find ways to make that model work and competitive. You look at the way that Caledonia have had a great season, solid homegrown players, quality foreign players. They're going to get better and better because you don't have to start again every year. So I think for the league, that's a model that the league can choose to move for, or they can bitch and whine about they think we've got more money than anybody else and should we need a salary cap and blah blah blah. Those guys didn't bitch when they were winning, but they also didn't try and come up with a decent model that said the WBBL can be the league that generates teams that can beat Bourges in Europe. Ken?
That's it. I don't need to say anything else. You heard the man.
And Kennedy, obviously winning 2 trophies in your first year, won all 4 this season. How do you kind of maintain that motivation and going into next year and obviously going even better?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fine line, like being complacent and then still chasing, the trophies and stuff. So I think for us, anything less than 4 now is kind of a disappointment. But at the same time, you can't like base everything on those, 4 marks or whatever you would call them. So I don't know. For us, I think it's just maintaining the fact that we can be a really good team and setting that bar and keeping that level. If we can do that, then the good, the trophies and all that stuff will come. But as long as we focus on us first, then that's kind of what matters.
Any more questions? No? Okay, that concludes the press conference. Thank you very much.